Hey, Omar.
What's up, Max?
We're here at the Combine, and obviously you've had already gone through the press conference process, but kind of just tell me, how does it feel, first official Combine as the GM for the Steelers?
It's exciting. It's a dream come true, but more importantly, I'm honored to be here. More importantly, I'm excited to have the opportunity to get to know these young men that are here and going to show us what they got. They want to be Steelers.
At what moment did you know, as young Omar, right, that you wanted to actually work in football operations and potentially one day become a GM? When did that first happen for you?
I grew up in New Orleans, and I was a huge Saints fan, and I watched the Saints start turning things around in the mid-'80s, and there was a GM there named Jim Finks. You know, he actually played for the Steelers early on. Kind of watched, and I was always intrigued by how he started building the team, and it just always resonated in me. And ever since I was young, my goal was to, work in the National Football League, become a general manager, win a bunch of Super Bowls. And this is a dream come true. And I'm sure it's like you, right? I mean, you always dreamt about playing in the NFL, and you did it.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you're right. We got to win a couple Super Bowls along the way.
Yeah, and you were just a little more athletically gifted than I was.
Just, I think it was the height. I think it was more so the height than the athleticism.
And I realized early on, my path to the NFL wasn't going to be trying to be Archie Manning or Ricky Jackson or any of those guys. It was going to be trying to be, Jim Finks.
Yeah. Well, and you got the chance early on to work within the Saints organization out of college, right? Because you were down in Tulane. Yeah. So, I mean, how was that process like, just getting the opportunity to go in and actually work in the ground level and see how the operations worked?
I mean, it was just cool. I was working I'll never forget, I was working with the Tulane football team as an undergraduate assistant, and I got home and I had a message on the old, you used to have those old voice that was before you, right?
Well, no, I had voice.
Where you go and you hit play, hit play.
Yeah.
And it was a gentleman named Chet Franklin. At the time, he was the VP of I think it was football operations for the Saints, and he calls, "Hey, Omar." So I'd spent a lot of time trying to network with people around the league, and especially the Saints, and hit play, and it was, "Hey, Omar, this is Chet Franklin with the New Orleans Saints. We have an opportunity for an internship in the personnel department. Thought you might be interested in talking to us." And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And obviously I called him back, set it up, and here we are.
Here we are indeed. And talking about where we're at right now, we're at the Combine. Who are you what position group are you looking at as being probably the deepest and most talented?
Fortunately for me, first year as a GM running the draft, this is a great draft. I mean, there are some really good, talented players. I mean, regardless of position, the O-line, the D-line, the corners, the linebackers. It is just it's setting up to be a really good draft. There's some good football players. So I'd say it's strong everywhere.
One of your first big moves as a GM was the trade of Chase Claypool to the Chicago Bears. Can you just talk about kind of just the influence behind that decision, being able to make that's a big move. People don't usually do that, and you had the ability to say, you know what, this is the best move for us, and to go and make that type of decision.
Honestly, if we didn't feel good about the rest of the receiver room, we wouldn't have made that trade. We felt really good about the players that we had there, and when the opportunity presented itself, we talked it over, with Art and Mike, and we discussed it and felt like it was the right decision for us. But if we didn't feel good about the receiver room that we had, we wouldn't have made that trade.
What are your thoughts on how the Combine is being here as a stationary location in Indianapolis, one, but then also how do you feel about it being more regionalized, as they've been talking about and posturing about not making it as big of a one-size-fits-all, one location, one-time situation?
Yeah, I have very little complaint about the Combine and the way it is right now. I've been coming here since the late 90s. I just think that the way it's being done right now, it's really efficient. We take advantage of the opportunity to be here. It's important for our process. I'm a big proponent of the Combine the way it is, and having here in Indy. It's so important to what we do.
What is your biggest takeaway that you're hoping to take away from your first Combine here?
So I love the opportunity to get to know the players that are here, and to identify if which of those guys would be fits for the Steelers organization. Someone that's a Steeler. You were a Steeler, and it's not something that I can say, hey, to be a Steeler, it's this, and that. You just kind of know. When you're a part of the organization, you know it. When you're a part of the organization for as long as we've been, you just kind of learn to see, and you get a feel for a person of whether they're a Steeler. And,
Yeah.
I love that challenge. I really love the process. It's been great so far.